And the second artist, who had been given the right-hand wall, he just kind of sat there. Day after day after day. The first artist had a team of helpers, and they were doing the research, and they were meeting, and they were trying things out. They were doing sample drawings on pads of paper. And the second artist was just staring at the wall. And at first, everybody thought, oh, maybe he's praying for inspiration, or maybe he's meditating, or trying to come up with a great idea. But as the weeks and even the months began to pass, the first artist and his team were actually sketching the work of art on the wall. And they were gathering together the finest colors in all the land to mix brilliant new paints to put on the wall. And they were building scaffolding, stairs and things to stand on. It was very high walls, of course, right? And the artists had to be able to get up to the top to make the left-hand wall look so beautiful. And day after day after day, that second artist was just sitting there, literally doing nothing. And finally, it came to be, with only a few weeks left, that the first artist had actually, you could already tell there were colors on the wall. This work of art was extraordinary. I mean, all you had to do was just kind of pass by that room, and you knew that something very, very special was being created. And all that time, the second artist just sat there doing nothing. And so it came to be that on the very last day of the year, as the competition was going to come to a close because everyone knew that the king was coming the next day to judge the two works of art, that the first artist and his team stepped back and admired what they had created, and they were very, very proud of what they had done, and they were about to go to a little reception, a little party to celebrate their hard work that had been completed. And the last thing, of course, as we all know, for anyone who's ever done a work of art, all they had to do was sign their names to the wall, and their work was done. And they signed their names, and with just a few hours until the sunrise the next morning, they left the castle and went to their party. And that second artist was still sitting there when they left. And of course, the first artist in the scene, they just scratched their heads. Maybe this man isn't feeling well. What's wrong with him? He just sat there for a whole year and did nothing. We're going to find out tomorrow when the king comes to judge the art. And so the next morning, the king gathered the artists in the center of the castle and thanked them for their hard work and said, "You stay here. I shall go into the royal art room by myself and judge the two works of art." And the king went into the room and immediately took a look at the left-hand side of the wall and was blown away. He knew that this was clearly the work of someone gifted, and that this was a work of art that people from all over the world would want to come and see and experience and enjoy. And then he turned to the other wall. And do you know what he saw on that second wall? He saw exactly what he had seen on that first wall. Every color, every line, every sketch, even the signatures. The second wall was exactly the same as the first wall, with one difference. The king could also see himself on the second wall. And he thought to himself, could it be? And he walked up to that second wall, the right-hand wall, and he reached his hand out to touch what appeared to be the work of art, and he realized that the only thing that the second artist had done was hung a mirror on the wall. Well, then he signaled to have the two artists brought in. And the first artist, the one who had worked on the left-hand side of the wall, he entered the room and saw his beautiful work of art on the left-hand side and had that feeling of joy, of pride, and of achievement. And then he looked at the right-hand side of the wall, and he was flabbergasted. Without words, he was speechless. And the king promptly announced that he had come to a decision regarding the matter of the prize, and that because what was contained on both walls was exactly the same, the two artists would be rewarded evenly. And again, you can imagine that this first artist, who had worked literally day and night for a whole year on the left-hand side of the wall, was upset, was furious. How dare this wise king, whom everyone revered and respected, how dare this king suggest that the mirror on the second wall, which had taken 1 second for that second artist to hang onto the wall, how dare the prize should be split equally? He was very upset, but the king said, "Come back tomorrow and it'll all be taken care of." And of course, that second artist was thrilled, you know? He was very, very excited. Well, they came back the next morning, and sure enough, they entered the royal art room. In addition to the beautiful work of art on the left-hand side and the mirror on the right-hand side, there was a tremendous amount of gold in a table in the center of the room. And it was more gold than anybody had ever seen. It was really a tremendous, tremendous prize. And the king promptly turned to the first artist who had created the left-hand wall. And the king said to that artist, "You really have created something extraordinary. The whole entire kingdom is grateful for your ability, and we thank you, and the prize is yours." And the second man, the second artist, started sputtering, "But Your Highness, you said yesterday that the prize would be divided evenly and fairly." And the king said, as he pointed to the picture of the gold, the reflection of the gold in the mirror, "I present you with your prize as well." And so it was that that second artist stormed out of the room in embarrassment and in shame, and the first artist claimed his prize. And I share this story with you because it seems to me that we're automatically inclined, in a good way, to take this moment on Thanksgiving and to try and voice and be aware of the thanks that we feel for that which we've been for that which we have received, for that which we are blessed to have in our lives. But I would also encourage all of us on this holiday to take a moment and reflect on what we can give to others. And it seems to me that the second artist in the story represents a certain kind of person that is looking for the easy way out and looking to maybe have an appearance of giving and helping others, but who actually doesn't. And the first artist is really our role model and our example, somebody that we should all strive to be, somebody who gives and brings beauty into the world and helps those who are in need. That's really what this holiday is all about. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.